All right, I'd like to call the December 4th Park and Recreation Commission meeting to order. First thing on our agenda tonight is the public forum. So are you here to speak to something in particular?
We are, following up on the last meeting, we're here to observe and participate in the budget process for 2018. We don't have anything prepared at this point.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. Correspondence. We have, Rick just handed us a packet of thank you letters to the staff for their work on the seniors fair. I don't know how many of you came. I know I saw some of you here. And we really had a very good turnout, and I assume it turned out pretty well.
What, Senior Fair plus the Kringle Village.
And the Kringle, well, it was all part of the same.
Yeah.
Same
Package deal.
package deal, yes. No, it was a fun Friday night and Saturday, so it was good. And we also have a letter from Gary Lyons thanking the staff for their,
There's two Gary Lyons.
I only have one.
Yeah, it's two.
No, the letter to Gary Lyons, not from us to Gary Lyons.
Oh, it's from
Thank
us
you.
to Gary Lyons
Yeah.
to thank them for their services in grading the Adams baseball field. Sorry about that. All right, any other correspondence that we're aware of? We're good?
That's it from us.
All right. Can we get an approval of the November 6th?
So moved.
Thank you. So any discussions, additions, corrections?
Nope, that's all good.
All looking good?
Yep.
Wow.
Good job, Kathy.
All right, thank you. All in favor of accepting the minutes?
Aye.
Any opposed? Abstentions? We're just moving right along, guys. Okay, a review and approval of the expenditures for November of 2017. So can we get,
Make a motion to
Motion.
approve the bills.
for a grand total of?
$106,380.
Second?
I will second.
All right, any questions on the bills?
There was something that left over from last month that you had a duplication. Did you recall that one? I didn't write it down.
Was it in the minutes? Let me see, I don't remember.
In the budget?
In the budget.
It was a duplication or something. It was a bill.
Bill.
We're
It
gonna
was a
check.
bill.
AquaTurf Sports Field?
That one we took
didn't.
out.
Okay, well then that was the one, then, I don't remember we took something else.
Yeah,
out.
we had, that was not, I didn't approve that one to go into, because that's not we're going to pay.
So it doesn't, it's not been resubmitted for?
No,
Okay,
no.
then that's fine.
I do have one minor thing I just caught today on the utilities, the first one. It says New England Road tennis courts water. That actually is, that $54, that's water for the high school fitness center there. So the bottom line is still the same, the 106,000, total, grand total, but the total before the fitness center, where it says 105, 181, just add or subtract $54, so that total is 105, 127.03 on the last page there. And then what I did is under GHS, I added water, and that's for August through, it's 2 months, I guess, 3 months, August through November. That $54 gets added there, so that total, instead of 1,132.15, is 1,186.20. But the grand total is still the same. Those just got moved around.
Okay.
So, I mean, what you're approving, the bottom line is still the same.
Right. You're just shifting it from one
Yeah.
place to the other, so it's in the right spot.
Mhm.
I had a few questions. On the second page, under Centas, or Centis, however you say it, I noticed that there's the first four, there's 4 orders, and I'm wondering why they're not together, because one was on the 15th, the 22nd, then the 8th, and then there's one at the bottom. Wait, there was another one that was oh, that's something else. But it's a lot of duplicate shirts and
It is.
aprons.
It's a weekly, they're
So
weekly
they-
to come, and that's our laundering service for the guys in the kitchen, for their
Okay.
aprons and shirts and things like that.
So it's cleaning service, it's
Yeah.
not purchases?
No,
Okay.
no, it's cleaning.
Just cleaning.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotcha. So that makes sense, that it's a weekly
Right.
turnover, okay.
Mhm.
I didn't know if it was a purchase, and I was like, why aren't they all just
Yeah, that's what I
purchased
wondered,
together?
Yeah, and the mops, some of our mops, you know, they have to get cleaned too. And so they
Oh,
have a
yeah,
service where they
okay.
clean them and they bring them back. And so that's what that is.
On the bottom of the page, Russell Hall, again, there's two for Russell Hall. They're a week apart for trash bags, on the 14th and then the 21st. Same amount. I'm just wondering why they don't order them together. Or if they ordered a larger amount, would they save by ordering a larger quantity?
That's what I've always asked too, like, it just,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
But we don't have
Because then it
storage.
goes down to
Storage.
Staples.
Storage is part of it.
Yeah.
They bring paper supplies every week anyway, you know, that's more of stuff that's in the kitchen that Larry orders, the
Right.
paper plates, cups, and just is not a place to store stuff. So every week or every 2 weeks, he reorders and they
So have
bring.
we ever looked in to see if we bought in bulk, a larger, I mean?
We might be able to save it, but there's no place to put it. We just don't have storage enough down there. That's one thing we're working on with Rose, to try to,
Absolutely.
yeah, but you know, you've seen that closet down there, it's packed with stuff. Yeah.
Because then they have Staples trash bags. Well, it says 10/28. Was that 10/28 or was it supposed to be 11/28?
The date, you mean?
Yeah, down like.
1612.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's 16/12 for the amount. It says 10/28?
There's
Could have
two
been
that
that
say
the
10/28.
bill came in late.
Oh, okay.
But a similar thing there with Todd. These dates are the dates of the bills, and so some of the orders might have been, they get backed up. Maybe he ordered,
Yeah,
and then 3 weeks later, but it's whenever the bill comes is when Bonnie
Really,
records it.
it's a shame that we don't have storage, because I think in the long run, you know, buying in bulk, of course, is always less
better.
expensive in the long
Yeah.
run,
Yeah.
Yeah.
you know?
Fortunately, with this company, there is a company we used to get stuff from, and you had to get a minimum order of $400, or there was a big delivery charge. There's no delivery charge with this company. The prices are actually good, because Todd does compare.
What you would have
He's a
spent on
good
the
shopper.
delivery, you're saving
Right,
$30.
right.
And my last question is, under the high school, as far as our year-to-date, do we know where we are in terms of what we've been allotted for year-to-date,
You know,
for
I
the
do keep
year,
track of
for the
it.
year allowance for the high school,
I
and
think
where we
we're-
sit right now?
We're in good shape. I mean, I can't give you the exact dollar amount, but I did compare last month with this month. Eversource, for example, the electric bill last month was $636. It was $415 this past month. The gas was higher. I guess it would be because it's colder right now, but November was $269. This month it was $716.
I meant like in total.
Yeah, no,
for the
overall,
year.
how are
we're,
we
yeah,
doing?
I keep like a
How are we doing in
run.
terms of our, you know, we
Overall
have a
budget.
certain amount for our budget, and then where are we
I can do a
at?
report for you. I do a running total. I have like a sheet of paper in my budget book.
Uh-huh.
I keep track of every one of these utility accounts, so I could total up and send it out to you.
We're meeting next Monday to look
Yeah.
at the budget, so
Yeah,
that,
we could do
that
that.
should be part of.
Sure.
Part of that.
I'll total those expenses versus what's budgeted to date.
Yeah, just because we know we have a certain amount
Yeah.
that we
Just
were
to-
given.
It gives us a good
Gives
idea
us
of
a
what we need
sense.
to do.
How
Yeah.
much longer are we responsible for this?
You know, I've asked that question. I haven't really there's not a definite answer yet. We thought it was gonna be a 2-year commitment, and so we're past that now, I think.
They've got a good thing going.
Yeah. I don't know. I haven't gotten an answer yet.
Reimbursement balance that we have to.
All right, any other questions on the bills? All in favor of accepting the bills?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Okay, department reports. Rick?
I'll just mention a couple of them. The capital budget, I believe didn't I send that? I think I sent out, you guys all approved, but I had some final numbers I had to get on a couple things. And I'm pretty sure I didn't bring them with me. I thought I emailed them to everybody. Did I? I think I did, right?
I got, yes.
So that's done, it's submitted. I haven't heard when of course, Matt Hoey and the whole board just got sworn in today, so we don't know when they want to set up that first meeting to talk about capital. I'm sure we'll hear something soon. I'll let you know as soon as we know. Let's see, of course, there's a lot about the disc golf course we can talk about when that's on the agenda there. I've been chipping away at the budget. The Christmas tree lighting was last Friday. You know, we always say there's 2,000 to 3,000 people. Nobody really counts, but it's a good crowd.
A lot of people.
Hard to tell in the dark. But, you know, I walk around and you kind of get a good sense of the number of people that are there. It was a good night. I think it went pretty smoothly. And, you know, our main part of that is we arrange for the lights to be put on the tree. I get a hold of Bartlett Tree Company. They come and they put them on the tree. And at no cost. And our guys are there, kind of handing the strings of lights to them as they're putting them around. And then we put those characters up inside the fenced area there. We fence it off. We bring the stage out. We're there during the tree lighting just to make sure everything's going smoothly. And it went well. The tree looks pretty good.
Great
Yeah.
night.
Yeah.
Lots of compliments on Facebook about the appearance of the green and how
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what I
beautiful
noticed,
it
too.
looked. It was, very clean, organized, so kudos to the guys.
The tree
And the
looked great.
moon was
Yes, sure.
beautiful.
As it is tonight.
Yeah, it's huge tonight when I was
It's
coming in.
beautiful.
And it's probably, well, I would probably touch more on Alan's report, but that night too, we had the Santa's workshop, that's Kringle's Village, and the senior crafts fair here, which I think, and I didn't hear a lot from the seniors, you may have, Barb, but I think it was a good move to put it at the night of the tree lighting, because we had never done that before, it's always been in October. The idea was to push it a little bit farther back, thinking, well, tree lighting night, there's more people around. I know the Santa's part of it went really well, there were a lot of people in line. Claire, were you there on Friday night or Saturday?
I was there Friday night.
Friday night, yeah, and so there was a, constant line there, and, I haven't heard back from Terry and her, she'll have an evaluation meeting with you and all the seniors who are involved with that, I'm sure, but, I guess it remains to be seen how it went, but
Yeah.
it was different, tried something different this year and make it the same night as the tree lighting.
Great. What time are the interviews going to be on the 6th?
Boy, what time? I think 1 o'clock. There are 6 candidates, 2 have dropped out.
All right. Okay. Any other questions or comments on the director's report? All right. Parks? Park foreman, Tony's report?
Highlight a couple of things.
Great.
We had the letter we sent out to Mark Lyons helping us with, or Gary Lyons, I'm sorry, with the Adams baseball field. We put the sod down after they finished doing the grading. You can see that near the bottom there, Tony, and Chris, you'll be interested in hearing this. We've edged 13 out of 19 fields so far. The infields is something we always do, we try to do in the fall, 'cause in the spring you can't get on the fields. It could be too wet, muddy, soft, and many years ago we started doing it in the fall when we could get on the fields, rather than wait till March and they're muddy. So they got most of them done so far. There's 6 to go. And if we don't get any big snowstorm this weekend, hopefully next week we can finish it up. I think the guys might have been working on a couple of them today, too. And then also there's areas, mostly these are soccer fields, although one of these is the high school baseball field. The 5th bullet down, measure, cut, prepare areas for sod. They're all been cut out. We just got to get the right weather now to order the sod and have it, our guys will put it down. We were hoping to do it this week, but now it's rain tomorrow. Maybe by the end of the week we can do it if the weather's right. So we're all at the mercy of weather right now for a lot of our projects.
We're lucky we've had this much time to do some catch-up, really.
Yeah.
All right, any other comments on the?
No.
All right, moving on now to Recreation Supervisor, Ellen. I had a question. How is it that Ellen is scheduling the weight room use?
How does she schedule it? Well, because it's our facility, so we schedule just like we schedule any room in here.
So they have to call her when they
Yeah,
want to use it?
well, they send a form, I've got to approve it, and they got to, on the form, it's got to, they have to indicate that they have the proper certifications. So it's, I would say exclusively the high school is using it. The wrestling team is in there at 5 in the morning. They have phys ed classes using it from 7:30 to 1:30 or 2, something like that. Then after school sports are in there till about 7. So they're all scheduled through us.
During the day, she has to schedule all that.
Yeah.
Why doesn't the phys ed, the athletic department schedule?
I guess that's why I'm
It's
looking
all
at
Be-
this.
involved.
Because it's under our jurisdiction.
Under our jurisdiction.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's really just like scheduling an athletic field or a bit, room here. People have to fill out a form, they request
Well,
it.
it just seems, it'd be easier to just go to the athletic.
Yeah, it would,
School and
yeah.
say, hey, I need to use.
But because
But
it's,
now, they have to contact
It's
Ellen,
under-
she's got to
yeah.
get back to them. It
Right.
seems like we're making the process
yeah,
harder.
no,
Then it should.
believe me, I get it.
Even with the phys ed classes, they have to schedule
They,
through?
not every individual class, they just block book it from
When they're gonna use it, okay.
Sullivan, Regina, she'll block book it from 7:30 to 2. You know, we don't have every individual class, but it's block booked all that time for the phys ed classes.
Okay?
And we estimated about 200 people with the Kringles Village, the Santa Claus, getting their pictures taken, about 200 people between Friday and Saturday. Kids and adults.
Yeah.
Santa was awesome. He was such a great Santa. So good.
I
Chatty.
think we met him on
Fabulous.
Friday. He was a really nice Santa.
He's busy.
There was a line, we talked about,
Oh,
maybe having, somebody suggested that perhaps we ought to have a little, maybe storyteller or somebody to entertain the kids while they were in line waiting to see Santa next year. So that's something we should talk about because,
And we had crafts going on up here in the quantified room at the same time. Andrew Schmidt was doing that, and there were quite a few kids doing that too.
they did, I saw that.
Yeah.
The poor ones who are waiting in line downstairs they're small, they get
Antsy.
antsy, yeah. So it would be nice to maybe have somebody just sit down, read some stories or something to keep their,
That'd be perfect.
oh, dress you up and you
Sign me up. Yeah, I'll come back.
You know, I'm not
With your little
going to
red
be
dress?
Santa Claus next year.
Put a little red dress on and you're ready to go. Okay, and Terry's report for the seniors program? And yes, the fair went well.
Yeah, well, and one thing she didn't put on here, the Rotary Senior Lunch is on
Yes.
December 13th, Wednesday. And normally there are about 180, 200 seniors come to that. Voices sing at it, and, it's something that Rotary does to give back to the seniors in the community, and it's a free lunch. And,
Is it noon?
yeah, and everybody gets a bag of goodies.
Isn't that when we came in and helped serve?
Yes. No, not that one, because the Rotary, no, it was another one. It was this, it was probably the one on the
Which one? The Christmas
the
lunch or
15th, probably, I think, right?
They'll have entertainment and.
Yeah, that's one where I think we got some of the commission members to help serve that.
Yes,
Because the
that's-
Rotary
yes.
has 30 people there that
Yeah,
did
they
the
take
Rotary
care of the
lunch.
whole
Yeah,
thing.
we served at the,
Yeah, I think that's the one. So yes, if anybody's
Do they need
available, I'm sure
people
Terry
that
could
day?
use
Oh,
the
I'm
help.
sure they will.
Yeah.
What day is that, the 13th?
The 13th is the one with the
13th is the
seniors,
senior.
with the Rotary. That's a Wednesday. The 15th is, that'd be Friday.
Is the seniors lunch. And if you hadn't heard Ashley sing, you should come. I'm going to be away that day,
Yeah,
but you should
come on the
come and hear it
22nd.
because it's really
Yeah.
wonderful.
she's wonderful.
And I'm sorry I'm going to miss it. but
There's going to be a little baby there, too.
Yes, yes.
On the 15th, what time's that one? Noon as well?
Yeah.
Yes. If she comes early, I have to come and see the baby. All right.
Oh, by the way, today, and Sue was there, at the Board of Selectmen meeting, we were on the agenda to have them approve, we already had the new bus in the budget, it's already been approved in the budget, and the application for the grant has been approved, Joe Maz had to sign that, but now there's an agreement with all the stipulations in that application that Matt now has to sign, so we had to be there to kind of talk about that a little bit, and they had a couple questions about how often are the buses used, and Terry had a lot of facts and figures he gave them, and so they approved that for Matt to now sign the agreement, so we can now move forward and start ordering the bus.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
That was great. It was unanimous.
Good. Okay, Standing Fields Committee report.
Well, the main things we've been talking about for the last few months is the Cox project. That's wrapping up. The contractor is finally kind of finished up. There are a couple minor things he still has to do, but we had the attorney send a letter to him with the final payment. There was a retainage that we withheld because there were things not completed. I sent that to him last Wednesday just to confirm he agrees with the dollar amount that we think we owe him, and I haven't heard anything back yet. And that's like Wednesday. And you'd think he said, yeah, I want to get paid. But it's in his court right now. And we also been talking about the drainage issue at the high school, the new sodded practice field there. Today, LaFada Company just got there today and they started digging the trench to help with the drainage issue there. And they'll need about 3 days to finish that. Probably won't be there tomorrow, probably not Wednesday, depending how much rain we get. But that's something we've been working on that for a while, and that's happening now too. So a couple of those projects look like they're coming to culmination.
Great. Okay.
And that's not being paid, that's coming out of the high school project money, because that's all part of
Oh.
that project. It's not
Okay.
our money, town money, or, well, it's town money, but it's,
No, but it's.
Comes
it's
out of
not
that
our
project.
budget.
yeah. Right.
Question for you. Back in the summer, we talked about, the JV softball field, the potential of putting a fence up there, a retaining barrier. Is that been shelved by the committee, or the?
Oh, on the back, you mean, where the steep hill is?
Yes.
No, what we've talked about is we're mowing it, Public Works will help us mow that twice a year. They have that, over the guardrail mower,
Right.
they can reach from the top most of the way down, from the bottom, most of the way up. There's like just a little, maybe a mohawk strip that they can't quite get. And then we're spraying a growth retardant on it about 3 or 4 times a year, and that keeps the grass from growing too fast. And so it worked. We did it, I think August, maybe, yeah, it was before school started. It was mowed. And then we sprayed that stuff. It's pretty much held it back, so it's not too bad. But that's the kind of solution that we talked about with the school superintendent and Cliff Gurnham, and they agreed to, let's give it a shot, see how that works.
Now, are the varsity fields locked down during the wintertime? Because they are completely fenced in. So do we padlock them and try to keep any type of?
Well, we will, so the baseball field, we're going to be sodding that, the areas we cut out. So, yeah, we put a fence up and, field closed. Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if we padlocked those openings, and all we can do is put like construction fence across that or something.
Okay.
Which we did last year when we sodded around the dugouts. And we'll do that again this year and just put the, field closed repair sign up.
John, was there an area where you were concerned where people could sit and fall back?
Yeah.
Well, that was
Was that the area
the
you were
pathway that
referring
leads
to?
from the tennis courts and all the way down to the bottom to where the varsity fields, softball fields is. And during the summertime, I would imagine during the regular softball season too, people will sit on that road there. And if they misstep, it's a steep tumble all the way down to the backstop and to the,
I
think
did mention that to Cliff Gurnham when he and I met up there about the whole field, the slope there, and I was thinking cars too, but he said, well, no cars go back there because it's only an emergency service road, so no cars go in there. But I mentioned, as you had said, that I think it was the Sting tournament, right? People are
Yes, it
sitting
was.
up there, and
Right.
I told them.
If they're not
Passed
worried,
it
I
on.
mean, yes.
Yeah.
You did what we.
You
Yeah.
did what we
you
asked.
mentioned, is
Right.
pass it on.
Yeah.
There.
I mean, it's a good place to sit. If you sit on the
Well,
bank.
it's a fantastic
on
place to
top
sit,
there.
but
As long as you
there's
don't lean
there's
too
some
far
risk.
forward. Don't
Yes.
tie your shoe while you're sitting
Right.
there.
Well, it's like sitting on the upper deck and not having a railing in front of you, so
Yeah.
there is some potential for misstep there.
They've been made aware.
Okay, Green Committee.
Next meeting is Wednesday, so haven't had a meeting since we met.
And land acquisition, we have nothing at this point.
Their meeting is canceled this month.
Yes. Okay, unfinished business, repairs and refurbishing of the community center. So to that end, Todd has gone and put some shelving down by the kitchen, moved some refrigerators out of the way, and hopefully it really is going to open up that space because everything's just sort of jumbled in there. And then the refrigerator that's in the staff room is going to come out of there so that they can have more room in the staff room and not have this constant coming and going because of the refrigerators. So that's going along pretty well. After the first of the year, he and I are going to start hitting the closets again to see how it's going. But he's going to put some shelving in the closet in the elite room because things are just stuffed in there. So we're hoping that once we can get some shelving in, we can get some organization and get things, and make some more space, really. And we have to purge. Yeah, some things have to go. So, and I'm very good at that.
Yeah.
And then the other thing is the money has been released for repairs, so they're looking into the carpeting, finally.
Great.
Finally, yes, it's,
Yeah. Long way to.
yeah. Did I miss anything? We're pretty well in track.
is for the whole building at one time?
Are we doing it?
I think we're gonna
We have
start
certain rooms.
downstairs hallway, because that, to me, is the worst.
Hallway, the game room, might have been this hallway too, I forgot, but we
I think we talked about this
we
hallway
had about
too, but-
26,000 in the capital budget.
I mean, as far as we can get, but downstairs hallway,
So needed.
definitely.
Yeah, bad.
And we still have some painting that needs to be done
Yes,
too,
yeah,
that the
especially the
guys can't
stairwell.
reach, coming up the stairwell.
So
So somebody gonna come and bring samples to us and do a,
No, I think we'll trust Todd.
okay, that's fine.
He's, you know, I have to say, he's very thorough. He does all of his research.
Yeah,
He doesn't, you know, he tries to
Yeah.
save us money. He's really
Yeah.
quite good at all of this, so
Yeah,
I
he
trust
goes
him.
above and
He's-
beyond.
Yeah, he does.
We
So he's
we
great.
have had a lot of problems. In fact, you saw Blake Company in the bills with some septic issues.
Yes,
I
did on
Yeah, he was down working on that, too.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
so good.
So we just sent a purchase over to Town Hall for over $6,000 because there's a lot of repairs that have to be done. There's some issues with some pumps not working properly. And I was actually away on vacation, and Todd had called me or texted me or something and said, "Can you call me? We got some issues with the septic pump." So I talked to him. I said, "Todd, just whatever you got to do it."
Do it.
And because, you know, we knew we got some big meals coming up, big dinners, 200 seniors here with the Rotary lunch, and, you know, so a lot of things coming up. There's a group renting the room, I think, on a Saturday coming up with like 200 people for a banquet. We don't want that septic system failing, and we don't want it to fail anyway, but when you got a lot of people, it's even worse. So I said, just whatever you have to do, go do it. It's an emergency, so we had to do it before we got a purchase order, but now we're putting a purchase order in because it's still a little bit, some more work's got to be done. We have to replace a pump and some floats that are not working properly. So I think they're coming Wednesday to finish it up. So
How often does that get pumped?
I think it's 4 times a year.
4 times? I knew it was often, but I didn't know.
Yeah, yeah.
Good.
Yeah, it's just, you know, things are starting to fail. It's 25 years old.
I was just gonna say,
now.
is this original equipment that we have?
I don't think, I think one of the pumps maybe, one of them we replaced, actually, when they came last week, or the week before, they replaced one. The other one is 11 years old now, so we thought, look, let's just make them both new. Let's replace that one, because eventually that's gonna go out. We have one out, one on. Let's get them both so they're both new, and hopefully we'll get another, 10, 15 years out of them. So, yeah,
Oh, that's
Does
important to
that
get
come
it
out of the building budget, or does that come out of the town?
comes out of our budget, yeah, under the community center account,
Okay.
yeah.
All right, Jacobs Beach Boardwalk.
We had a little delay on the project, so now with the new board, Rick will be reaching out to Will to find out if we are still within the timeline of being able to go out to bid, get started and complete before we have restrictions in terms of disturbing any wildlife.
Right.
I know there's, a timeline that we have to adhere to. So that's our next step. We're going to be reaching out to Will to get things going again so that we can determine if we can start the project shortly
Right.
versus waiting until the following fall next year, or this year, 2018 fall.
Be nice to
So
have it for
hopefully,
summer.
we can get it going again, and our timeline hasn't been delayed to the point where we can't start it up.
Right.
Good.
But everything else is ready to go out to bid, so we're ready.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Disc golf, how are we doing?
I think we're moving along pretty well. I brought some pictures because, and I don't know if you'll be able to focus on this, Pete, if we show this, because I think people are, I think that from, Claire's told me some talk on Facebook, and
Is this the Black Forest?
yeah. This is Loughbury Park in Wallingford, and it's one I happen to go to, and I wanted to kind of let people see, we're not talking about clear cutting. I have the blueprint here, and I'm thinking about putting this on like a foam board and have it on display downstairs. But the problem with, if people look at this, they think these are giant fairways.
Yeah.
And they're not. They're going to be like that. It's going to be majority of the trees stay up.
okay.
Anything that's smaller than 8 inches diameter coming down, brush, the low stuff. It's not going to be clear cut. And so the worry about putting this up on a website or something, people might think these are big wide open fairways like a golf course, and they're not. This is the only, we did this, we made these 50 feet wide. They're not going to be 50 feet wide. We just made the absolute widest, worst case scenario if we cut a lot of trees down, and we're not going to. But what we did do is we're expanding the parking lot. The parking lot is this little area right now, about 6 cars maybe, and the plan is to expand it so there'll be room for about 20 cars there. We Rose, Sue, Jack, and I met with members of the Land Trust a couple months ago, I guess. They have a copy of this plan, but it's confusing. We had the original plan that showed these fairways in a little different location. Some were going, more than were going, crossing trails and everything. That was like in black, but I think in red, we superimposed, I should say, the new plan over the old one to show what was, what now is. It's a little confusing. Someone got a hold of that and went up on a website someplace, and it looks very confusing. It looks like 26 holes, or 36 instead of 18 or something, because they're overlapping. But we only did that and gave that to members of the Land Trust to show them what we did to try to accommodate some of their concerns. So, for example, hole number 1, which was originally over here,
Right.
the T, so it went across these trails, and now we moved it. So consequently, what happened is, this was already approved by the Wetlands Commission, but when we moved it, this one, for example, came closer to the wetlands, so we had to go back to them for approval again, and they approved it again with the modification. So they've approved it. The Land Trust doesn't have this, they have this version, but the old one underneath it, so it is confusing, I clearly admit that, but they have a large plan like this. Again, we moved some of the trails, I'm sorry, not the trails, we moved some of the fairways, tees, baskets, to try to avoid conflict with trails where possible. There are still some trails that do cross, or I should say fairways crossing the trails were there first. An example is right here, this black line is the trail. But this is where the tee would be. And you can clearly see that trail.
Yes.
Yeah.
So if somebody's on the trail, somebody's going to throw a frisbee, they're going to see it. They're not going to throw it if somebody's right in front of them. Even this one, the tee is here on number 7. There's a trail in front of it. It's hard to tell the distance here. I don't know, maybe it's from here to the door, it might be a little farther. But again, I
You can
looked
see
both
somebody
ways. You can
walking.
clearly see people on the trail. So I think there's very, very little
Well, we also-
conflict.
didn't we also mention that we would also, maybe at that point on the trail, put some signage
Yes.
as well
Yeah.
that says.
In fact, here, hold it. This is another, this is in Bristol. This is the code that they put up, and one of them says, never throw into a blind area when players, spectators, pedestrians, or facility users are within range, use a spotter. So if you can't see up over a hill, then have somebody kind of spot, make sure there's nobody on the other side. The only one that does that is number 7. The tee is here, this is the top of a ridge, and the basket's on the other side. But in talking to Craig Smolin, who's designed this for us, and other disc golfers, well, they said, well, somebody's not going to just wing it over the hill, because they don't know where the basket is on the other side.
That's right.
They're not going to just wing it, try to get it, they'll get it to the top of the hill, and then they'll look and they'll see where the basket is, and they'll throw it from there. Most of this is a par 3, I think one of them was a par 4, maybe this one was kind of long, but I forgot which one. But it's the same rules of golf and same etiquette and everything, well, you don't have to worry about divots.
No, but it's, yeah.
But etiquette as far as, watch out for people in front of you and, pay attention. And, when we put the kiosk up there, we can clearly state on there, could be active hikers on this trail, be alert, be aware. For hikers, be alert, be aware, there might be people playing
And
disc
we do
golf.
that, and we put signs on the trail itself that
Right.
says,
Well, the other thing is
Near the golf.
this location and layout with trails near
Pete, can you see it?
it's not unique to us.
Right.
There are other towns that have the same scenario, probably even more so. There's one, I think, that has quite a few holes, but
Yeah.
it's not unique to Guilford, where you mix disc golf, wooded areas with trails. So, and I know you've spoken, Rick, to, different parks that have the combination, and it's not an issue.
I've spoken to 4 different communities that have it, and I've also asked them about peak hours, peak time, peak time, how many people are there. The most I've heard is a couple of them, but Wickham Park is the biggest, most popular. That's the one that's got 27 holes, 27. It's a multi-use park. There's softball going on and volleyball, people flying kites, open hills, and people sunning themselves in the grass. And there's a lot of other traffic there. And they said the peak is 20 people. That's the most they have at any given time. Loughbury Park, which is the one I showed you in Wallingford, they said their peak is 10 to 20 people. And that's not 10 to 20 cars. That might be 10. If it's 20 people, it might be 10 cars.
Right.
Most people come with somebody. So I don't see a lot of overflow parking here. You know, we could have,
You
we
said 20 cars, I don't think you'll ever get that many between
Right.
the hikers and the disc golf players at the same time.
right,
I mean-
I think we're gonna be okay with that.
No, and we were saying, if we ever decide to have a tournament of some sort, I mean,
Shuttle.
like other things that we do in Guilford, we could have them park someplace and shuttle them over,
Right.
so it's
Exactly.
not,
Carpool shuttle.
Yeah.
I think that was the main concern on
That
the
was-
chat on
Yeah.
Facebook, was just the
yeah, I
parking
mean,
and-
and if we do have a tournament, maybe once
That's
a
right.
year, we're not gonna be doing this all the
No.
time.
No,
Yeah.
Well, that, and I think the other problem is people hear golf,
yeah.
Yes.
and they think Guilford Lakes Golf Course, totally clear, beautiful.
Well, that's why,
Right.
yeah,
And-
that's why I want to,
yeah.
I'm glad that, you know, we have this and people can understand, this is not going to be a big,
Right.
wide open
This is
fairway,
not a
it's going to
golf
look more
course.
like what that. And the only thing else, I did meet with the Assistant Police Chief and Lieutenant Bravager last week, because someone was concerned about the sight lines, and I said, well, coming out of here,
Out of the parking.
Which is our
Driving
existing
out of the
exit
park.
now.
it's the way it's been for decades.
Years.
You know,
Yeah.
so I said, how's the sight line any different whether somebody's hiking and driving out of there or 4 or 5 people playing disc golf? It's the same sight line. But looking at it, it said, looking to the left, which is west, was not an issue because of the way the curve is in the road. Looking this way was a little bit. So this is all our property here too, and there's just very low, small seedlings and things there. We could take those out, and even Assistant Chief Hyatt said that if you take those out, it makes a big difference. So we'll do that as part of
Don't
it.
regardless, so that's
Yeah.
a solution to that.
So
Yeah.
there really aren't any,
I mean, we could do that
should be any
anyway at this
issues.
point, I would think.
Any other questions? Oh, this is all the wetlands, you know, that's, wetlands is in blue, here, and there's a little one right there.
And then also, Rick, it's important to note that on the whole 16, if you point to where that is near the wetlands up there, originally it was facing so that you
It's
were
going this
shooting,
way.
you were
Into
tossing,
the
what do you do?
wetlands.
Shoot, hit, toss, whatever the correct language is. Swing, I don't know. It was coming down towards the inland wetlands, and then when Jack and Rick and I walked it, we said, well, what about tossing it in the opposite direction, so you're throwing away from the inland wetlands? So that's what they did, which is why
Yes.
that arrow
Goes this way.
above
That's right.
16 is showing
Right.
it's going away.
Yeah.
And again, as Rick said, it was already approved by inland wetlands, and then whatever changes we made to accommodate concerns with the Guilford Land Trust, we went back and they approved it again.
Right.
So,
So now all that's left is planning and zoning on the 20th?
20th.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we've done a lot reasonably to try to, you know, meet the different needs people have and concerns, and, and hole number 8 changed, it was gonna go parallel to the trail, and again, Craig, sensitive to that, changed the direction, so it's going up this way now, away from the trail. And again, if the T is here, you can clearly see people on the trail, so it's, there really is no conflict there.
Right.
Same thing here with number 15, this is right at the very beginning.
Yes.
It's wide open, if the T is here, you can clearly see if there's
clearly
anybody
see.
hiking there. This one got moved, this one was back here, and we moved it this way, so it's not crossing the trail.
How's your arm, John?
Yeah, thanks.
Are we done yet?
Now I have to redo the whole presentation so you can see it. Any other questions or thoughts on it?
Well, I think it's been on our agenda for a year.
Thanks, John.
It's been in the paper 3 times, so I think we are comfortable knowing that, we put this out there to the public. We've done our due diligence and made opportunities for people to weigh in. And when we did have weigh-in, we were able to address those things and follow the procedures that we need to in town to get to the point where now our final step is planning and zoning,
Well, and I
which is
think our
good.
thought process on anything is always respectful for
Yeah,
for
safety
neighbors
and
safety
respect and,
you know.
It's a 30-acre park that, it's been underutilized, and it's tremendous for the hikers. I don't want to say it's not used, it is used for people who hike there. And it's some really nice hiking trails. But they go through one little section, really, and there's a whole expanse of woods there that are going to remain mostly woods, and it just expands the use of that. I wouldn't really encourage, but I mean, certainly, it's almost like a whole nother trail in a way. When I say I don't encourage, if somebody's playing disc golf, you don't want hikers hiking on the disc golf course. It's like
Oh,
if
yeah,
somebody's
that's the thing.
playing golf, they can't go hiking on the golf course.
But it's another way
But-
of using it, you're not on a trail, but you're out walking through the
Right.
woods. And
Absolutely.
you're using the land, not as trails, but you're still using the land, like you have an opportunity when you go to walk on
Mhm.
trails. Now you're out walking and you're enjoying another sport.
And my understanding, talking with a lot of people who play disc golf, they are very respectful of they're hikers. They're people who like to be in the woods. And while they're there, they're throwing a Frisbee into a basket. And they're respectful, I can't say nobody ever litters, but they're respectful of the environment. And
Just like the dog park, they
Right.
really self-maintain it.
Exactly. Yeah.
The way they use it,
Mhm.
they're really conscientious. It's their park, they want it to be
Right.
nice, and they respect that. And
Mhm.
they've done a great job over there. And it sounds like from your experience with talking to different parks, that continues
Same
into
thing is
disc
gonna
golf.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All
It's
right.
pretty self-policing that way.
All right,
Mhm.
so we have planning and zoning on December 20th, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
I think it's 7:30. Yeah. I'll send it, I can
I
send
was
a
just
reminder.
send a reminder out if
Yeah.
you would, yeah. All right, how are we coming on the roof replacement?
Hasn't been done yet.
Yeah, obviously not.
I can't remember if I mentioned this last meeting or not, but we did go to the building committee with representatives from Hacks, the company, the engineering architectural firm. And the building committee had some modifications to the specifications, so they have to just make those, they're pretty minor modifications, and then prepare it to go out to bid. The idea was to bid it in January, bid opening an award in February, and the work will be done probably in the summer. So we're on target with that.
Okay.
We did because the prices came in, only one price came in budget, and that's the one they threw out. They thought the company was not experienced enough. The other numbers were considerably higher, so in our capital budget, if you remember, we did ask for more money next year to supplement what we have to be able to get this done.
Okay.
Good.
All right, the last thing under unfinished business is our budget workshop, but that's scheduled for next Monday, 6:30, here, same place, same time.
Yep.
Okay,
What time
I'll
is
talk
it?
to Rick about that.
Bring a birthday cake for me.
That's your birthday that day?
Yes, I'm.
What a better way to spend it.
Oh, God, yes, I can't wait.
We'll bring the candles.
I'm not gonna tell you how many candles you need to bring, so.
Well, that's okay, we'll just have
Can't
one
light it
big
anyway, it'll
candle.
make the smoke detector go off.
You might need a fire engine.
I have a balloon I could bring for 70.
No helium balloons.
Ouch,
Oh, that's right.
a mere child. All right, any other unfinished business, guys, that you could think of? Okay, the only thing we have under new business is that generally at the first of the year, we have election of officers, so I think we will do that next month. Okay, any other new business? Any business at all? Oh, wonderful, could we get a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion that we end this meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Hi.
Do we have anyone opposed? Thank you.
Well, it might be-